Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of the season here with Invictus Racing League for the Tier 2, Round 9 here at Miami at the Hard Rock Speedway. Well, car park if you want to call it that, but I'm Jack, TM53, your commentator, as always, for Tier 2. It's just me tonight. Xerox, unfortunately, isn't unable to co-commentate alongside me, but we will be having, I'm sure, some action around this 3.361 mile circuit. Hard Rock Stadium, of course, has held host to the Miami Grand Prix since 2022. We're not far away from having its third iteration later on this season. And I'm really excited to see how the drivers of Tier 2 adapt to the quite challenging demands of this circuit. A lot of quick, high-speed corners in the first sector, the tight and technical elements of the second sector. It's got a bit of jack-of-all-trades, has Miami, and let's see how these Tier 2 guys get on. Hello to Blackside in the YouTube chat, and as well, YB Maras giving a good look to Kiri, who is in for this evening as well. He's in the Red Bull, of course. Kiri hoping to improve on his 10th position from last week in Monza, so let's see how those guys get on around here. 19 corners around this track. We are just getting into the qualifying event, which we're going to have shortly. 18 minutes to set the grid before we go into our race, which will be effectively 29 laps, and we'll see how the drivers can adapt. Whether we're going to have any different type of weather conditions today is going to be curious. We didn't have any in the Tier 3 race yesterday. It was completely bone dry for both qualifying and the race in the end. So let's see if there's going to be any mixture in the air, any rain mixture potentially. If it's maybe the track conditions might be a little bit cooler, that could affect the drivers' setups. That's something that could crop up too. But whilst the guys are getting themselves loaded in and they're selecting their setups, let's just go through the drivers and constructors championships after the first 8 rounds of the season. This is, of course, round 9. We'll also get the data up for you on the screen so you can see the detail. We can keep the telemetry on for the time being and get the track map up as well. And we'll have the tyres on there too. So, in terms of the championship, Lucas Blaha still leads the way on 93 points. But after his crash last week at Monza, Ivan Belov is now only 11 points behind in the Ferrari. He's on 82. A little bit further back, you've got Ruddo on 64 points after his victory by 200ths of a second last week. He's on 64, as I mentioned. JP9 is 4th on 62, and Ads Lucas is 5th on 52 points. If we take a look at the rest of the top 10, you've got Kerr in 6th on 47, LDR Gamer 7th on 42, Ricky Maru on 38 in 8th place, Vasek is 9th on 37, and Clips rounds out the top 10 on 31 points. Quite a densely packed field. We see that Kent's out on circuits. Let's just follow him. There's a couple of other cars coming out as well. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, though, bit of a change at the top from last week. The Ferrari getting a 1-2 in front of the Tifosi. They're on 146. They overtook Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. Aston are on 130. So only 16 points separating the two teams. And both Aston Martins and both Ferraris are in tonight. So that'll keep that fire raging even more. The battle for 5th, 4th and 3rd is very, very close. Mercedes lead the way on 85 points in 3rd position. Alpine are 4th on 79 and Red Bull are 5th on 78. So very, very tight between all of the drivers. But we've got Kent we're following at the moment. Looking at the race weather, thanks to our pit lane reporter of Ruddo for the picture. Very much appreciated, mate. Looks like we're going to have a dry race. Looks as if there could be a chance of rain, but it's a very small chance of rain. We'll see how that changes over time. We know it can change a little bit from session to session in terms of the percentages. But we've got Kent coming towards turn number 17, the heaviest braking spot on the whole circuit. There he is, round in the corner. Let's have a ride on board with him then for our first official lap of the session. So he clips onto DRS and across the line he goes. He approaches turn 1. He'll probably brake to about third or second gear. Runs a little bit wide at the apex. That's going to compromise him at turn 2. And he backs out of it completely. I want to see which Red Bull it is coming towards turn 1. That's Kerr. So let's see how Kerr gets on. He's down through the gears into turn 1. That's nice and neat through there. He won't be compromised through 2, but you've got to be careful of the curbs. He rides them in any case. Up to 6th gear, completely flat with these soft tyres. And then he approaches the high speed left, right, left. In at turn 4, then turn 5 and 6 he's coming towards now. Keeping it in 6th gear. And then down into 3rd gear there. But he ran a little bit wide. Not the optimal line through there. Turns 9 and 10 we're coming through at the moment. They're not corners realistically in the dry. Completely flat. They won't cause any problems for drivers. Now, one of the big stops of the circuit. Turn 11. You've got to brake at the 100-metre marker. Down through the gears. Into 3rd for the Red Bull driver. And then it's an ever long-lasting turn 12. Feels like it goes on forever. Then it's into the challenging part of the circuit. Really tight and technical. Clamps over the curbs. And that is an invalidated lap for Kerr. And unfortunately, he will not be able to set a valid lap time. Keza, though, is coming through the same section. And I don't believe he's invalidated his lap. Yes, he has. So we'll have to find, I think, Vasek. Yeah, there we go. He comes out of turn 16. So maybe he's going to be the one to set the first official flying lap. Although I reckon Kent is going to set a lap time anyway. Yeah, he does a 39, but it's not representative at all. Aston Martin then brakes at the Aramco sign down into 3rd gear. Just wants to tame the car on exit to stop the rears from spinning up through 18 and completely flat at this final corner. And Vasek, much more like it, a 28.4. Nice effort from the Aston Martin. Alex cuts the time and beam a couple of hundredths slower. Atsu follows him with a 29.3 as well. Some very quick times on the board already. Mr. Steen goes in with a 33. That's not representative. LDR Gamer on a 29.3. That's quite competitive from LDR on the medium compound tyres. He's only a second roughly off the back of Vasek. And Clips now goes up into 1st position. A good effort from him, a 28.1. That's a fabulous lap. That's the Ferrari coming over the line. In the background, I want to say that is Ruddo. There he is. Into turn 1, the last week's winner, of course. And what can he do today? He's just getting past one of the Red Bulls. And then through these high-speed corners. It's so quick the camera can't really keep up with it, to be honest with you. But he's got through okay. He's going to clip the apex here. Nicely done from Ruddo. And then he's going to go completely flat towards the heavy braking zone of turn number 11. But we're expecting this to be quite a lengthy race, really. You know, 29 laps around here. It's not exactly the shortest track on the calendar, a 90-second lap approximately. So we are expecting the race to be a little bit longer than what we have had in recent weeks, if you look at Monaco as an example of that. Although, to be fair, Monaco probably is a little bit longer due to the amount of safety cars that we had that day. I'm just having a look at the moment, you know, it just shows you the improvements coming up from Tier 3. Last night's pole position time was a 127.8 from Waters, and Clips, who's currently provisional pole, is 3/10 off of that. So just showing you there's a bit of convergence going on between the leagues. Everyone's starting to get quicker towards the end of the games. Life and Ruddo, there's a 27.9, so that's much more like it. A good effort from him. But JP usurps that by 0.03 of a second. And he's provisionally on pole with 11 minutes and 20 seconds to go. What an effort. That is very, very close between the top two. Still looking at Claimer. Waiting to see what he does in terms of lap time. He is on a lap. He's just rounding the final corner in this Alpine. Here he goes. A cut to the beam at a 128.2. That's a good enough effort to go on the second row of the grid there for Claimer, which I think he'll be happy with for the initial running. We still haven't had a lap yet from Lucas Blaha. He's just crossed the start-finish line now, our championship leader. He's out there on medium tyres. So there'll be an improvement to come from him yet. And I've noticed as well, just seeing that Haas getting out of the way, which was Alex. But Lucas will have more time to come from his car. He's running on the medium compound tyres, which we know is roughly about 1.2 seconds a lap slower over hot lap compared to the soft Pirelli compound tyres. So for Lucas, whatever lap time he sets, expect about a second improvement as he approaches the heavy braking zone at turn 11. He runs a touch deep at turn 11. That's going to compromise his turn 12, and he had to go a little bit slower through then, up to third, then down back to second for this awkwardly designed chicane. And then out of that final corner onto the main straight. And then DRS wide open for the Aston Martin, over 200 miles an hour before he hits the heavy braking zone at turn number 17. He was doing about 207 miles an hour then. So very quick car in a straight line. Lucas clearly running a little bit lower downforce compared to other drivers. And that lap time is a 28.3. Now that is ominous. If we're expecting 1 second of improvement on the soft tyres, that's going to put him, in theory, 6/10 clear of everybody else when he goes onto that Pirelli Redwall tyre. We've got Keza, who's just done a 28.5. Good effort from him. One of the Red Bulls is just coming to set their first flying lap. So that's Kerr going onto it. And the Haas also starts their second run. Ivan, the man in second place in the standings, number 97, is just starting his first effort. So this has got to be on it from Ivan. He wants to put a bit of pressure on Lucas, especially after his title rival crashed out last week. A couple of comments just coming in from Lee saying Ruddo said last week was a bit close, so he's going to win by 2/10 instead. That's a huge snap of oversteer for Ivan. Gathers it all up, but that's that lap ruined. And he will re-emerge on track in front of his teammate, but his teammate is not on a flying lap, so he won't need to worry too much, but he still gets out of the way. Let's see where Kerr is, one of the other two drivers not to set a lap. Ivan will have to go again. The main thing for Ivan is that he didn't stick it into the wall. It's the last thing he'd need. And Kurt is going to get a nice little slipstream. I think it's from the Mercedes of Mr. Steen in front of him. And that's going to be enough just to give him a bit more momentum towards turn. Well, look at the top speed here. 212, 13 miles an hour. That just shows you how much of an advantage he got from the Mercedes. He's not... Well, he's going to... Ooh, that was very awkward. LDR Gamer up to third with that lap, by the way. And Kerr jumps up to the third row of the grid, but immediately gets bumped down by the Haas of Alex to move into fourth position. So a couple of changes there for the drivers out on circuit. Just going to look to see where Ivan is. Yeah, he's coming towards turn 17. He's on the approach and going through the corner. So he only did a couple of corners on his first flying effort, so his tyres won't be too worn at the moment. He'll be able to go again. Lucas currently in 8th place, but if we look at the fact that Lucas set his time on the medium tyres, he could very easily get pole yet. He's just in front of his teammate, Vasek, on a 28.4. But Ivan is approaching. That's a good lap from Vasek. That's a 27.8. That's pole. Currently, don't forget he got his first pole position last week at Monza. He led an Aston Martin 1-2, but it all went wrong for them after the sprint race, where everything went very well for them on that time, on that occasion. The DRS is wide open for the Ferrari. He's approaching turn number 10. And then he'll blast up towards a number 11 here. Not too bad from him at the moment. That turn 12 corner feels so endless to drive. But that's a nice line through the chicane, through the 90-degree left and right. He's done okay there. We obviously don't know what his delta time is, because he hasn't set a representative flying lap. It didn't come up then on the screen from what I could see. Well, actually it did. It flashed up very briefly. But Ivan comes towards the penultimate set of corners. Little twitch on the exit of turn 17, up through the gears at 18 and completely flat for turn 19. It's going to be a lap to put him fourth, right with his teammates. And if Lucas can find a second, he'll be licking his lips at that one. But one of our championship contenders on the second row of the grid, the other one on row 5. But again, still 5 minutes to go in this session. A lot can change. Claimer aiming to be one of those drivers to make an improvement, moving up the field. And he's 6/10 up. This is a cracking effort from the Alpine. 6/10 up would put him on a 27.6, which is comfortably clear of Vasek. So he's got to get the approach to the final braking zone right here, does the Alpine driver. Down through the gears. He's running a little bit higher downforces, Claimer, as well, I've noticed. Here he comes then towards the final corner. What's this lap from Claimer? And it is provisional pole. It's a 27.6. And that's a great effort. Claimer looking for his first pole position, but JP9 does it again. He fights back with a 27.5. So Claimer, as brief as it was, he had pole position. It got snatched away from him. And he will have to try again. Most of the rest of the field actually are in the pit, apart from our championship protagonist, Lucas Blaha. Says in the top right corner he's 3/10 up in Sector 1. But the softs really will be using a lot of their grip now in these couple of corners here in the sequence. Through turn 12, just trying to keep the car as tight as possible to get a good exit into the 90 left here and the 90 right. Really nice use of the curbs from Lucas. Nice rotation as well out of the final left hand. And that's 1.1 seconds. I said that's where the time would be found. 1.1 seconds. He's going to be worrying the 26s here, is Lucas, if he can keep up this rate of knots. Blasting towards turn number 1 at 207 miles an hour. This is a man who's in tune with his machine at the moment. A really nice exit. He pits. Wow. He was 1.1 up on his lap. We'll have to find out why Lucas went into the pit lane. What is that about? That's a surprise. Comfortably on for pole. Decides against it. He's got time to go in, get a new set of Pirelli soft tyres if he wants to do that. But practically everybody in the pits with less than 3 minutes to go. You've got Kent and Atsu, the only two out there on the moment. We've got another Haas coming out, which is Alex. But we'll have to find out what that decision was from Lucas, why he decided to pit when he was 1.1 up. So Kent is using a bit of his battery down the straight. I wonder if he accidentally flicked it on. He'll get a little bit of it back as he approaches the final corner. And yeah, he's widening that corner. And look at all the outlap signatures coming up on the left-hand side of the timing tower. This is going to be a very busy end to qualifying. They're going to have to find themselves some room and not impede. And Kent has got himself a nice bit of space on the track here. He's got an Aston Martin coming out of Vasek, but Vasek is not going to trouble him. Oh, big slide, and Kent's out. Kent is out of qualifying. He just lost the rear end at turn 3. He's in the middle of the circuit. Oh, that is so unfortunate, but it's so easy to do at turn 3. And Kent is our first retirement of qualifying on the exit of turn 3. He hasn't affected anybody's flying lap, fortunately. But he really lit it up through turn 3. And JP has retired as well, but he's retired in the pit lane, so clearly he doesn't think he can go any quicker. We're watching Atsu, who's the first driver to set his last lap of qualifying. He's in second gear, so Atsu clearly not having the confidence to use the higher gears through there. Or maybe that's just his preference to buzz the limiter in second. Every driver does have their own styles. Alex, his teammate, is now out there as well. And look at the queue of cars you've got going through the stadium section, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the bottom right of your screen where the track map is, there are so many little indicators who are all trying to find themselves a little bit of space. And Atsu is going to come across that. Oh, he got on the curb. And that's his lap invalidated. He can get round again and do another lap. He should be okay to get away with that. He'll have to try and somehow recharge his battery. I don't know how he's going to manage it, but he'll have to work hard at doing that. So next up is his teammate. It's Alex in 7th place currently. LDR Gamer, the next driver behind. And then it'll be Mr. Steen to set a lap. So we'll try and catch them as they go through. It's going to be really hard to do, but I'll try my best. But Alex had a decent result last week. He got some points. He finished 11th. And he'll want to try and score some more points. And as I say that, he's hit the wall. Oh, it's a good job he ghosted there, because that could have been awkward for LDR Gamer. But that's Alex's qualifying session done. And I think that's Mr. Steen, who might have just... Has he gone round Mr. Steen? I don't know. I think he got away with that. For LDR Gamer, he's a 10th up on his lap currently. And he's approaching the turn 17, the final corner of heavy braking on this circuit. Down into second gear, clips the apex quite nicely. Claimer is out, but he's just retired for the sake of it. I think he's invalidated his lap. So LDR, he gets himself up to 5th position. And what about everybody else? We've got Clips Kiri coming through now. Can he set a time that's any faster than what he's done so far? He can indeed. It's a 27.7. Nice effort from the Red Bull. Vasek now, the next car to come across the line in the Aston Martin. His teammate in 10th place. He wants his fellow friend right up there with him. That's on the front row for Vasek, a 27.6. Next car up, is it going to be Ivan towards the line? Can he improve? He's up to 5th. What about Lucas? What a surprise, a 27.1 from Lucas to go even faster. Speaking of ads, he's in 7th place. The Alfa Romeo Keza moves up into 8th position. Ruddo, oh, a huge snap of oversteer for Ruddo, and that's game over for him on that lap. Atsu will get another chance to set a lap time, and he stays 15th in the end. Well, the track may change, but the surprises with Lucas do not stop. 0.4 of a second is ominous around this track. And as I said to everybody before, the fastest qualifying lap in Tier 3 was a 27.8. It'd only be good enough for 8th on the grid. So just shows you when the Tier 2 drivers are up to speed, they can really put the difference in between the performance of both Tier 3 drivers and Tier 2, of course. But Lucas, pole position. And he will start on the front row alongside JP9. He's got an outside chance of the championship to JP, but he'd need a lot of luck to support him with that. But the angriest man in the world from last week will want to try and make amends this evening. Vasek and Claimer on row 2 with Clips and Ivan on row 3. Adds Lucas and Keza in 7th and 8th place, and last week's winner Ruddo in 9th. LDR Gamer rounding out the top 10. Alex in 11th position. Kerr in 12th. In front of his home fans in America. Then it's Mr. Steen and Kent. They'll be lining up on row 7, and Atsu on his own in row 8. The whole field separated by 1.5 seconds, but take Lucas out of the equation, 1.1 separates 2nd from 15th. So very competitive in terms of the lobby for this evening around Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium. It's a temporary track, so it gets changed all the time. We've got a little bit of cloud in the air. And from what I've seen from the weather reports, it looks like we could have an outside chance of rain. I'd say a 1 in 5 chance at best. So who knows how the session will progress. In terms of last night for Tier 3, the safety car only appeared once. We did have a VSC, a virtual safety car as well, for those that don't know the acronyms, earlier on in the stint. But outside of that, it was a relatively good race in terms of not many highlights in terms of accidents or anything like that last night. So we expect a similar pattern from Tier 2. They tend to follow a similar pattern to Tier 3. But the drivers now be preparing themselves for the race strategies. And they'll be sorting that out. There's a few strategies on offer. In terms of this evening. Could be the opportunity for some drivers to think about doing the medium soft if they feel brave enough. Some might decide to go a little bit safer and go hard medium. There's a few options for a two-stop out there as well, depending on how track conditions evolve through this race. Which could happen, you never know what will happen in a league race with Invictus Racing League. If you are watching, of course, do make sure you like the stream. It means a lot to Invictus to keep the promotion and viability of the channel, of course. It makes the visibility improve even more to the algorithms that YouTube likes to utilise through Google services. And as well as a big shout out to our partners at Venturi Studios for creating those wonderful graphics that we utilise here in Invictus Racing League. If you want to get some of your own, please do let us know, and we'll be able to get you in touch with the right people. Maybe you want to have some graphics design for your poster or for your bedroom. If you are just joining us, it is just me commentating this evening. There's no Xerox, unfortunately. He's probably gone fishing, to be honest. No, I'm just joking. He's unavailable this evening, to be honest. But I hope he's doing okay. He is missing out commentating on his home race at Miami. But I'm sure he'll be back next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix at Budapest, which is a classic circuit, a fantastic circuit. And then 2 more races after that, but we'll talk about those later. We've got the 5 red lights coming up on your screen. And the race is live from Miami. It's a good start from the front row for Lucas Blaha, and that's a great start. JP is going to be under pressure from the Aston Martin behind. A little bit of contact between Vasek and Klamer as they go through turn 2. They're going to be side by side, but they all slot themselves in. Clips Kiri is alongside Ads Lucas. A big snap of oversteer for the Alpine. He gets away with it. Klamer's in front of Vasek, who had a wobble. Great start from everybody. A couple of cars almost side by side, especially at the back between Kent and Atsu, but Atsu runs off the road in protest. And so far, so good from everyone. It's what you want to see. The 2 cars here side by side together of Ad Lucas and Keza. That one just about sorting itself out. Lucas is off and up the road. He's almost a second clear. Meanwhile, Klamer on those softs is making a move. He needs to get on with it to make those softs work. In terms of what's going on there, a little bit of a breakup in terms of the microphone there. Does tend to happen for some reason when I'm on my own. I'm not sure why that is. But like I say, Klamer is trying to get on the back of Lucas, and he is already there as Kerr overtakes Mr. Steen. That's another driver using the abilities of the soft tyres. A break later into turn 17. Kent's shot past that too and then lost it all by himself. Lucas sets the pace then, but he'll have the attentions of the Alpine right on his rear wing. JP's there, then it's Vasek, Ivan, Clips Kiri, Keza, Ads Lucas and Ruddo, the first 2 drivers on the hard compound tyres, and then LDR Gamer rounds out the top 10. Kerr already looking at the back of the Haas of Alex. Let's get some data up for everybody so we can see the position changes. Yes, a good start for Klamer. Ooh, that's a little bit wide from Ruddo and LDR Gamer. I think they were going side by side through there. You don't want to be doing too much of that. And Ads Lucas now is going to be under threat from a raging Ferrari. Around the outside goes the Ferrari driver, and that little bit further up, sorry, I had to cut forward because Keza going around the outside of Clips Kiri. Lovely move in the Alfa Romeo, and Ruddo completes the move on Ads Lucas as well. There's your possible race strategies as well, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of people might do soft, medium, medium as well, so let's see how that plays out. But 2 positions gained for Klamer, 2 for Keza. They'll be happy with their progress thus far. But despite Klamer having the soft tyres, Lucas is almost out of DRS. That gap almost over a second. Then there's a bit of a gap to Ruddo, but he's on the hard tyres. So you expect in the opening laps the drivers of Ruddo, Lucas and Kent, and that's Ads Lucas, not Lucas Blaha, who's just set the fastest lap of the race. You expect them to be a little bit slower at the start, getting those hard tyres warmed up. And speaking of warming them up in their braking zone at turn 1, Ads Lucas goes past the Ferrari driver. These two don't want to fight too much, though. They don't want to lose touch with the medium runners. They just need to run together, use the hard tyre, get it warmed up over the next few laps, and then try and take advantage of the mediums when their pace starts to drop off. Under heavy fuel, and that is LDR Gamer running wide at turn 7. But he will get, I reckon he'll get DRS, actually, to be honest. I think he was behind the activation line now on Kerr. I thought Kerr was going to try and squeeze through the middle. We're going to be 3 wide as they go towards the next corner here at turn 11. The last of the late breakers. There's a little bit of contact between LDR Gamer and Alex, but Alex is in front. And that mistake from LDR really did cost him on the exit of turn number 7. Unfortunately, it's dropped him 2 places, and Kerr gains 2, and Alex doesn't go anywhere, which will probably frustrate him a little bit. Now, Ruddo trying to weave a little bit, trying to break the toe, but Ads Lucas is coming through regardless. On the run towards turn 17, Ruddo is going to just hold it round the outside and just slot in behind. That's smart racecraft from him. There's Mr. Steen. That's JP9 up and through on Claimer. Claimer's going to try and go to the outside, but that's not going to work out. Kent in the pits. I wonder if he's got damage. I'll keep an eye on that one. But Claimer's soft already starting to struggle, I wonder, compared to the mediums. There's a lot of load going into that tyre. Mr. Steen has just had a little mistake, and he's broke his front wing, actually. Front right end plate. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Steen's had contact with the wall at the exit of turn number 3. Kent coming out of the pit, so he did have a front wing change. Claimer not close enough to the back of JP9 to even think about a move for turn 11. Top 5 have settled into a routine. Keza and Clips are together. The 2 hard tyre runners of Ruddo and Ads Lucas are also together. Kerr is with them. But how long will the soft tyres be able to last for? The reason why I'm asking that is because Claimer has dropped the place to JP9. He's going to try and take this back on the approach to turn number 17, and he gets in front. He's on the brakes a little bit later than the Mercedes man, and he goes through. A big snap of oversteer on the exit. That's going to re-invite the pressure from JP9 to go to the inside. He's got DRS. Here comes Ivan as well. And I think Claimer might just lose 2 places. I'm right on board with Vasek. Yes, that is the case. I wonder if the soft tyres are just starting to reach their performance cliff, shall we call it. They're not going to be as fast as the mediums, I don't think, from this point forward. And you can see Claimer's really having a lot of difficulty through the high speed left and right corners there at turn 5 and 6. And Vasek, this won't be as easy to overtake him because, of course, Claimer in front will have DRS from the Ferrari of Ivan. But having said that, Vasek is closing, but doesn't go for a lunge. Just looking a little bit further back, I'm just watching the gaps. Kerr was close to Ads Lucas, but nothing in terms of an overtake. Everyone else just running in formation. Atsu's a little bit off the back of the group, but he's running, which is the main thing. That's what you want. Ooh, Vasek just clipping the wall. He'll get away with that. He won't get any damage. Look like a tyre strike more than anything else. But look at this speed from this Aston Martin. It seems incredibly quick. Claimer was using the battery there as well, but didn't matter to Vasek. He goes through. And that Aston Martin clearly running a slightly lower amount of downforce compared to his rivals, or compared to Claimer maybe. And yeah, fastest final sector from the Aston Martin. Really impressive. And those medium tyres are starting to come into their own now. And Claimer will have to be careful he doesn't drop back into the clutches of Keza, because Keza's only just a second over in terms of time on the Alpine. But Lucas out in front, he's 3.3 seconds clear. running his own race at the moment. There is the race leader. We haven't seen him since turn 1. But he is out in front. We had a change of position there as well. Kerr running in 10th place, but he's just starting to drop off the back of the 2 hard tyre runners. Here comes Ads Lucas. He's on the inside. We'll watch it from on board with Kerr. Ruddo, a little bit of contact between the two. And they remain in the places they were. I said this before, the 2 hard tyre runners, they can't afford to lose the back of the train in front of them. And they're not that far away. They're only 2 seconds behind. But the problem is if they go for little overtakes that aren't quite fully committed, they will lose the time because of the fighting that they have together. And Ad Lucas is going to come back at Ruddo. And he is going to go for it once again. He goes to the inside. Ruddo gives him space, but then Ruddo, oh, that's a little bit clumsy from... I wouldn't say anyone was at fault there. I think Ruddo was trying to get a switch back on As Lucas. Kerr saw the gap, tried to go for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it was just 2 into 1 at that point. The apex didn't work, and Ruddo runs too deep, but Kerr doesn't find a way through. And I think these two, Ads Lucas and Ruddo, they just need a moment, get themselves together, gather it back up again and go for it once more, because they've got to get that gap down to Clips and Keza. And to be fair, Keza has actually dropped a bit of time to Claimer. I'm impressed with Claimer's recovery, because I truly thought he was going to drop off the back of the medium runners in front of him, but he's just about sticking with them and dropping Keza and Clips as a result. Kerr's going to go for this. He's on the outside. Can he go all the way around the outside of Ruddo? The answer is no. So those soft tyres, despite the raw speed advantage having disappeared, are hanging in there nicely. That's a yellow flag, and I'm assuming that's going to be for Atsu. Has he got any damage? No, all seems good. Maybe he just had a little knock with the wall and had a little half spin. Kent and Mr. Steen will be hoping for some safety cars. But the racing looks really nice so far. Really good to see. Nice racecraft from a few drivers. And a couple of little gaps emerging. Oh, that's Alex, I think, who's gone round. I wonder if he's just lost it. He's going to get back on track, but he's going to get overtaken. Potentially by Atsu. Did Atsu get the DRS? Yeah, his rear wing's wide open. And Alex is going to try and defend side by side into turn 1. And Alex is still there. As is Atsu. Atsu's going to go all the way around the outside. 2 teammates together. And Atsu goes through. Nice overtake that from Atsu. He moves up into the points in IRL into 12th place. Oh, and then a huge snap of oversteer gives the place back to his teammate. The American team putting on a show for the American fans. And that is Ruddo going alongside Ads Lucas again. Ads Lucas, of course, running in the top 5 in the drivers' standings. No slouch at all. He's had a few unfortunate moments this season as Ads Lucas, looking at the Monaco retirement when he could have won there. Certainly has his nose in the race strategy books when he can. Here comes Ruddo this time. He's going to take a little bit more of an unconventional approach. How close was that to the wall? But he goes through. Nice clean overtake, and he's back into 8th position. Oh, a little bit of a touch in the rear from Ads, and that's our first pit stop from Claimer. So those soft tyres have done enough. We're still following the fight between Ruddo and Ads Lucas. Ads going to go to the outside. This is an overtaking area to go around the outside. Ruddo's giving him as much as an opportunity to go through as he can. And Ads is going to try and get around the outside. These guys are fighting way too hard for the strategy. And now the gap's over 3.6 seconds. That's Atsu in the wall, is it? Or is he just lost? That's a bit of a strange place. Looks like he's dropped it on the exit of turn 2. Yeah, he did. He got away with it, though. Oh, and that's Kerr in the wall. It's not actually, it's LDR Gamer in the wall, not Kurt. That's a broken front wing. That's an awkward place to try and I say it's a broken front wing. It doesn't look like anything's broken on LDR's car. Does anybody else have damage? I'm just looking at Kerr. Yes, it is. So Kerr did have damage, right. So I was right to say that Kerr was round, and he was round in the wall, but I wonder what had happened between the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull. I'm sure Christian Horner and friends won't be happy about that. But that'll be a new front wing change for Kerr. No safety car, because the broken front wing was right by the barrier. So the marshals will be able to collect that. And Clips is going to try and have a look at a move at Keza, but he backs out of it. Ads Lucas trying the outside line at 17. Trying to get on the traction. Ruddo had a little squirm out of the third to last corner, and Lucas is trying everything he can to get past. He's going to look again to the outside line. We'll look at the side of the car that we're battling with here. Oh, it's all getting a little bit too. Oh, there's more contact between Ad Lucas and Ruddo. I think in terms of a racing driver's mentality at the moment, everyone, what we're watching is it's two drivers getting very, very frustrated with one another, and they're not now leaving each other enough space, and they're getting very annoyed at that. And unfortunately, they've dropped now 5 seconds to the guys in front of them. And that has been the prime source of our entertainment so far today. But it looked like quite a whack for Ruddo. I wonder if he got any damage, I wonder. But the two of them are getting frustrated with one another. That's what's going on right now. Because they'll be blaming the other one for holding each other up. Such is the racing driver's mentality. Oh, Keza with a nice kick of oversteer on the exit there of turn 15. He's 4 seconds behind the group containing Vasek, Ivan and JP9. These two have been running together for most of the race. They've kept in touch with Lucas. Lucas hasn't pulled away in the manner in which I thought. Lucas has been roughly around 3 seconds in front since he made that initial breakaway. The two guys behind have managed to keep him within striking distance. Ivan very much within striking distance of JP9, mind you. But realistically, the two fights, the biggest fights on circuit, are between JP and Ivan, and then Ad Lucas and Ruddo. Everyone else just starting to spread out a little bit. If we look at the gaps at the moment, you can see that they are quite spaced out. Atsu over a minute back now. He has just made a pit stop. We look at the pit stop situation. Here comes Ivan into second place. Nice clean overtake from himself there. Ferrari fans will be delighted with that. Ruddo is going to be right back with his best friend Ads Lucas. He's going to go to the outside. Lucas defends. But the Alpine stays in front for now. Now, of course, don't forget Claimer in the top 10 currently. Ooh, that was a very awkward line for the Alpine through there. It's just promoted another chance for the Ferrari to go through. JP, I just wanted to cut forward there. Wasn't quite close enough for an overtake. Clips Kiri's not far away from Keza either, but Ruddo will go back past Ad Lucas and into 7th position. Now, ooh, that's a little bit deep from the Ferrari. We'll stay on board then, because Ad Lucas will want to get an overtake done. Evening to Eli, good to see you. Ooh, that's as close as you want to get to the back of a rear diffuser in a Formula 1 car whilst travelling at that speed. But I was saying, at Claimer, he's on the medium tyres. He ran the softs to start with. He's got fresh ones on now. If we have a look at his current situation, we look where he is in compared to the leader. He's 21 seconds just under behind. Claimer running a completely different strategy to those behind him as Ivan and JP go side by side. A little bit of wheel to side pod contact between the two, but they'll get away with it. JP goes in front of the Ferrari again. These two love swapping places at the moment. Ruddo didn't have to defend Ads Lucas this time. But Claimer will be catching this group, and he's also making inroads on Lucas, so you never know with Claimer. He might be able to lead the race in a few laps' time, depending on how the pit stop strategies play out. But again, for his strategy to work, can he make those tyres last 20 laps? He can, because myself and JPH proved that in Tier 3 last night, that you can get those tyres to 20 laps, as Lucas just love taps Ruddo into turn 17. Another snap of oversteer for Ruddo, who's really struggling on the exit of slow corners, hairpin bends, and Ads Lucas will have a run at turn 1. And Ruddo just breaks earlier and lets him get on with it. Gap now 6.4 seconds to Clips and Keza, who are still circulating in the fight for 5th place, but it's been quite neutralised between those two. They're just running with one another. Now this might not be neutralised this time, because Ivan, that's a nice run on the Mercedes. That's a excuse me. And he goes through into 2nd position. Speaking of Mercedes, Mr. Steen lost it on the exit of turn 18. And again, the back end of the Ferrari, we saw it with Ruddo. I wonder if the two are communicating in terms of setups. They're both running snappy cars, and Claimer has joined the fight with his teammate. So Ruddo's not got one Alpine to deal with, he's got 2 now. Oh, and I think and it's all getting a bit too messy. Ads Lucas hit the back of Ruddo. He didn't mean to. He backed off of it, and then when he backed off, he hit the back of Claimer. Not ideal. So this time around, Claimer is going to want to try and get through as soon as he can, but he wants his teammates to help him. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Ivan's pitted. Oh, and he's picked up a 5-second time penalty. As he does that, Lucas goes to the inside at turn 17. Ruddo's trying to find a way through, but he just can't do it. Into the pits goes Ad Lucas, so he's helped his teammate out. Claimer goes up to 7th. Where does Claimer feed out compared to the Ferrari of Ivan? He's in front. Ruddo back into 6th position. Let's just try and see the gap between Claimer and Ivan. I would say the gap is about 3 seconds. And that could give Claimer the lead. And we saw last night that the medium tyres can do 20 laps to the end of the race. It's not out of the question that he might decide to try that strategy, but it's up to everybody else now to respond to Ivan, who will be making some fresh inroads, and it'll give Lucas something to think about. He might need to cover this. Or Lucas will decide to go medium and then the soft tyre, which would not surprise me. But we'll see if the race leader reacts to it, and whether JP9 will react to it as well. Got a little bit of a lull in the race though at the moment with these time gaps. You can see no real on-track fights, but that's because of the strategies that are now unfolding. Now Lucas has carried on, as has JP9. Vasek is going to go into the pits, but he has clipped the white line, so we've got a warning for that. If he hasn't had one already, in goes Clips. Claimer will obviously carry on. I'd be surprised if Ruddo pitted yet. And Ivan, with that 5-second time penalty, he's going to be furious with himself. Claimer goes past Vasek as well. Keza carries on. Alex is in the pits. And Lucas we've already seen go into the pits, and everybody else a little bit further back there doing their own thing. So, new fresh tyres. Vasek is 4.5 seconds behind Ivan. Can he help his teammate out for the Drivers' Championship? Can Vasek close that gap down on Ivan? Who knows? We will have a change for position between the Ferraris. I don't think Ruddo's going to make this hard for his teammate. And that's Kent in the wall. That'll be a safety car. And the happiest drivers in the field will be those that haven't yet pitted. Kent in the wall at turn 3. It's where he crashed out in qualifying. I reckon he's gone to the inside wall and binned it, unfortunately for him. Safety car out on circuit. Mr. Steen should be allowed to go past the safety car. I think it's on the left-hand side. He goes through. Kent's gone, unfortunately. Now, this will put Lucas in a bit of a position. He will pit, But will that affect what he was going to do? I wonder if he was going to go and do medium softs. I don't doubt that the softs could get to the end from here, but it'll be very challenging in terms of tyre wear towards the end of the race. Claimer might want to pit again. What are we getting? New hard tyres on for Lucas then. What about JP? He goes for the soft tyre. So a change for the front two. Claimer's going back into the pits. Gets it stopped in time. Ivan carries on. Will Ivan get out in front of JP? Oh, it's going to be a fight to the line. Here comes the Mercedes. It's going to be very, very tight. But JP beats him out. Vasek stays on those hards. He just pitted as well, unfortunately. Clips. Claimer's gone for another set of mediums, which doesn't surprise me at all. They will comfortably make it to the end of the race. Ad Lucas is on the mediums. He just pitted. We'll have another resumption of the fight between Lucas and Ruddo. I'm sure they'll be delighted at that to see each other again on the track. LDR's gone for the softs. Kerr's gone for the mediums. Alex is coming in for a new set of tyres. And that is medium Pirellis for him. Atsu shouldn't get held up yet. Nice simple double stack for Haas to sort out. Gets held a little bit on the entry. And he'll be able to serve his penalty, will Atsu, by the looks of it. There you go. And it's a fresh set of mediums. Mr. Steen gets in and another set of mediums for him. And he just gets beat out by Atsu. So that is the state of play then on lap 16. If you are watching currently at the moment, do put a comment in below. There's a good few of you in tonight watching who you think is going to win this race, or who you think might be able to make some moves in these last few laps, or even if you've got a driver of the day so far. Be good to hear your thoughts. But Lucas will be under serious threat from JP. But the question will be whether JP's tyres can last for long enough so that he doesn't have to worry about a retaliation from Lucas later on in the Grand Prix. I think those that went to the medium tyres are going to be in a wonderfully advantageous position. And Ivan with his time penalty, we'll have to wait and see. Whether or not, if there was any shenanigans going on for Ivan. We have seen a time penalty for the pit lane speed and limit removed this season because someone in tier 3 was doing 47 miles an hour into the pit lane, and then they got a penalty for it, even though the penalty, or rather the pit limiter mile an hour was 50, so that got rightfully removed. But Ivan won't know whether that gets cleared until later on this season, or whether it, later on this week, or whether it's a case of tough luck. He's just got to get on with it, and he did speed in the pit lane. Who knows? We'll get that question answered, I'm sure. We've still got 2 cars to catch the safety car at the moment. That's Atsu and Mr. Steen. They'll be delighted. I said before they needed a safety car, and they've got one. Eli saying JP got to win this. Well, the bookmakers would fancy it in terms of the soft tyre compared to 5 cars around him on the hards. He's got the best tyre. He'll have the most grip. He's just got to make use of that immediately and then pull away from Lucas. If he can't drop Lucas out of DRS in the race, then that'll be it for JP. He won't be able to win this Grand Prix, I don't think. But the guys at the back have caught up. Are we going to get 11 laps of green flag running? Yes, we are. So the safety car in this lap, and that means Lucas becomes the effective pace setter. There's a bit of a gap between Ad Lucas and Ruddo there. I wonder what happened with that. I wonder if they're trying to avoid each other as much as possible. But I'm going to ride on board with JP. I want to watch when Lucas goes. The safety car is not yet in, and I wonder if Lucas will wait until maybe the final corner to put his foot down. There he goes. He's gone. That's a really nice restart from Lucas. He's going to be comfortable into turn 1. He won't need to worry about pressure from behind. Everybody else looks quite close together. Kerr got caught napping there, and Alex will be wanting to get this overtake done at turn 1. Nice late lunge. Kerr holds it on the outside. The American fighting for his fans. He keeps the position. And the Red Bull stays in 11th place. Meanwhile, at the front, JP just taking a couple of corners, I think, to try and get himself into position. Using all the battery where he can to stick with Lucas. But Lucas is really nailing it at the moment. And here goes Claimer up into 6th position past Clips. And Clips Kiri's going to be under pressure. He's the first of the hard tyre runners. He's got everybody else behind him. Side by side, LDR Gamer making an overtake at turn number 11 past the Ferrari. That's a nice clean overtake. And the two drivers, ooh, big snap of oversteer from LDR as he went through turn 14 and 15. Nicely held. As he gets the power down as early as he can. He's really trying to make use of those soft tyres early on. With the whole field right together and bunched up, really hurtling towards turn 17. Big heavy braking point, and Lucas has cracked DRS on JP. And I've got to say, I don't know whether to say it's a case of Lucas is exceptionally fast. We know he's exceptionally fast. He's a championship leader for a reason, but is JP getting enough speed out of the soft tyres? That's a question mark. Or is it just Lucas is setting an unbelievable pace? It is really, really impressive from the championship leader. And he's got his rear gunner, Vasek, with him in 4th place, keeping Ivan within striking distance. But JP is he's in and out of DRS. He's in and out of that 1 second time zone that he needs to be in. Really trying to do his best to keep hold of it. Keza now is going to get overtaken by Claimer, I believe. He's on the outside at turn 10. Shouldn't be a problem with a little bit of battery power. The Alpine is just about going to go through. He brakes later than the Alfa Romeo. He moves up into 6th position. Looking to see Clips, adds Lucas, LDR Gamer, and Ruddo and Kerr. Oh, that's Keza in the wall. Is that a broken front wing, or has he got away with it and just spun? Oh, that is a shame. Keza was running so well in the top 6, but that is him out of the points. And unless there's another set of shenanigans in front of him, he's not going to get that point score that he deserves. That promotes everybody up a position. So you just saw there that DRS enabled. Oh, Clips having a big 4-wheel drift out of turn 3. Gets away with the slide. And I'm watching that gap at the fight in P1. JP is trying his utmost, and he's got into DRS. And that is critical for JP for this race. LDR Gamer has got past Ads Lucas, but Lucas is fighting back. Ads Lucas, a very combative driver. He won't give places up easily, and he'll have DRS on Clips Kiri in front, who thought he could get away with from these guys because they were fighting so hard. But the Alpine is on the inside and through, and LDR Gamer runs into the back of Clips just because of so much grip he's got on those soft tyres at the moment. Almost getting caught out in the braking zone. But these guys now all in a fight of their own from 6th down to 13th position. They are running in a queue of cars. Everybody else in front of them is off and up the road, and Claimer, the only driver to make a break from the group, could be on for a podium if he can overtake Vasek. And that's LDR. Oh, LDR is off the road. I don't know whether he got nudged there, but that is game over for points for the AlphaTauri driver, unless there is another safety car, you'd assume. It looked like it just went flying off the road. It wasn't stopped in time at all. No damage, but that's really cost him. That's Kurt. overtaking Clips Kiri, who's really, really fighting the car with those hard tyres. They just don't seem to be giving him the lateral grip he needs in the first sector. I've seen him all over the track a few times, sadly. He's on the inside, and that's Clips going off the road completely. And he loses another spot. The Red Bull is sinking. And speaking of a sinking feeling, Vasek will be frustrated because Claimer goes through and up to 4th. I mean, can he go after JP and Lucas? I mean, he's got the best tyres out of everybody to do it. They're quicker than the hards. They will be till the end of the race, and they won't wear as quick as the softs. This guy, don't rule him out yet. He's only 4.3 off the back of Lucas and Co. And they don't have much battery either, the front three guys. I'm not going to say what the scenario is, but Claimer's got to make sure Vasek doesn't go through. Ruddo is past Ads Lucas for what must be the 50th time this race. And Kerr is joining them. He's putting on a show for his fans. In 8th position, the Red Bull. The 2 Haas cars. Ooh, don't collide, gentlemen. That's the last thing you want for your teammate. And Atsu is going to swing it to the inside line of turn 1. Brakes a little bit later. Well, we thought he did, but Atsu is able to sort that out. Gets past Alex, who then has a big twitch out of turn 3, and Clips can't get through. Mr. Steen's there. They're going to be side by side as they approach turn number 4. Ooh, you don't want to go side by side through there, unfortunately. They heeded the warnings and they didn't. Mr. Steen is going to go past Clips. He gets on the painted lines of the curb and he runs wide, but he'll get DRS thanks to where the system is. Now look at the gap at the front. Look at the gap at the front. Well done to Clips. He's just got past Mr. Steen, but that was right down to 2 tenths. And JP is really now fighting to take a victory. Adds Lucas and Kerr side by side at turn 12. Round the long right-hander, but Kerr gets the move done. He's looking very quick, the Red Bull. When one Red Bull goes backwards, the other one's going forwards. But he will have lost a bit of time to Ruddo, and that might just be the break Ruddo needs to get away from everybody behind him. Kez has got a time penalty, not ideal when you're at the back of the field. And Claimer is catching Ivan, but he's not catching the front 2, unfortunately for him. He's going to have to hope that these 2 decide to squabble. Oh, JP! Pushing hard, but we've seen this so many times from the Mercedes. He puts the rear brake bias arguably too far back, and he lost the back end into turn 1, and he's out of DRS. He is going to have to work so hard in these next few corners. If he loses it, you fear that Lucas will be gone and up the road. That might be that, you know. Lucas will have a big smile on his face, but it's not over. It's still not over. He's still got 6 laps left. After this, adds Lucas now with a time penalty. They're all starting to come thick and fast. And Claimer is within striking distance now of the Ferrari of Ivan Belov. Kerr gets past Ruddo. Ruddo has been involved in more action, and has had Lucas for that matter, than any other driver. The 2 Hasses are side by side at the beach. And all is well at the beach between the 2 American-owned cars. Clips Kiri's there, Mr. Steen's there as well. He's on for a point. LDR Game's actually doing a decent recovery to try and get back to the guys in front. Ruddo has swapped places with Kerr again. And they're closing in on Vasek here, these 2. 1.6 between Vasek and Ruddo. That's a gap that surely can close in the remaining laps of this race. And it's certainly a gap that's closing between Ivan and Claimer. That is now half a second practically. And the Alpine is doing its best to get up to the back and onto the podium. I mean, he's on the podium at the moment, even with Ivan's penalty, but he'll want to do it on circuit. And I feel now that JP, that is his driver's winning trophy charge done and dusted, unless Lucas makes a mistake. Those hard tyres will be in their prime, and those soft tyres will be very much past it. And there goes Claimer for third position. The gap between Claimer and JP, 2.8 seconds as Kerr goes past Ruddo for 7th place. And Atsu swaps positions with Alex for 9th position. And Mr. Steen goes through, makes an overtake on Clips Kiri for 11th. There's a lot of action out on track. Just showing that the Tier 2 drivers know how to put on a display of racecraft this evening. It's been really good racing tonight. Still got 5 laps to go after the one that we are currently on, as Ruddo goes back past Kerr again. The American crowd will be cheering him on to get past Ruddo and maybe even Vasek if they work together. The two Haas drivers are side by side, really giving us a good display of driving etiquette. But Atsu does have a time penalty, so they'll need to pull away from Clips Curry. He's only 1.7 away, but he's fighting with Mr. Steen. Let's have a look at the penalty scenario. You've got 5 seconds for Ivan, you've got 3 for Lucas, Atsu and Keza, all because of track limit penalties. That 5 for Ivan was due to that pit stop incident before, but for everyone else it's track limits only. Now we go back to the fight with Ruddo and Kurt. DRS is wide open. He's seeing the diffuser of the Ferrari growing bigger in front of him, but he cannot make any impression just yet. He'll have a bigger straight to try and fight back with on the exit of turn number 16. But it's a case of whether he is going to be close enough to look at Ruddo on the run towards turn 17. This is where that braking zone is, and Ivan's back in front of Claimer. Oh, Claimer nearly hitting the back there of the other Ferrari driver today. And Alex Natsu side by side once more at turn 17. They both give each other racing room. Kerr goes past Ruddo, and Atsu gets the traction out of turn 17, and he's back in front. Really good racing. Here comes Mr. Steen as well with Clips Kiri, and the Red Bull emerges in front of that battle. Since the safety car, there's been a lot of good action out on circuit. Really, really good to see. They're all fighting over points. LDR Gamers not far away from that fight for the last point in the top 12. I think Kez's race is run and done, unfortunately, unless there's some drama in front of him. Is that Claimer going back in front? It's another DRS assisted pass. And Kerr and Ruddo, the gap is about 1.5 to Vasek. Is Vasek going to hold on? And the other element to involve is that Ivan can't really afford to fight Claimer. It's that 5-second time penalty. If we look at where it is right now, he'd be 9.8 seconds. If the race finished now, actually let's wait for him to come out of this final corner because that's going to change. Towards the next braking zone, Ivan with a DRS pass on Claimer at turn 17. And Ruddo goes back in front of Kerr. These two may be trying to... Are they going to try and work together? Can they do that? Who knows whether they can do that. But if the race were to finish now, Ivan would finish 8.8 seconds behind, which would put him behind Ruddo in terms of the time gap currently, as Atsu and Alex are doing it again. It's a yellow flag out there in sector 3. I'm not sure what that was for, and Atsu gets a little bit of kick of oversteer. Give each other racing room, boys. And they do just that. Ad Lucas will be thrilled though, because he's got away from these guys behind him, and his time penalty will be ineffective at this point. Won't do anything for him, and he'll stay in 8th position. 3 laps to go. No team orders clearly at Haas today, and they're putting on a really thrilling spectacle. Whilst I talk about a thrilling spectacle, just to make a note, JP's almost within a second of Lucas. Back through goes Atsu. Re-emerges. Oh, that's deep at turn 11. And they're going to go wheel to wheel at turn 12. corner to corner. They can't go side by side through here. Surely they have. Wheel to wheel rubbing, and they now both have a 3-second time penalty. So it's status quo for the two of them as Ivan gets repassed by Claimer. I was just saying JP was almost within a second. I wonder if Lucas made a little bit of a mistake somewhere on track. He was 2 seconds clear, but that gap's come down. 2 laps to go. Vasek has been joined by Ruddo and Kerr for a last 2 lap dash. These two Haas cars are sharing all of the limelight at the moment. They are having a thrilling fight between teammates. I've not seen a fight like this for a long time between teammates. They're really putting on a great display of racecraft. The only problem is that they both might end up falling out of the points because of their time penalties. They fought so much that Clips is almost a second behind and LDR Game is 1.4. That's not out of the realms of impossibility for those two to gain some places on the Fighting Haas duo. Ruddo is past Vasek and up into 5th position. He's on for 4th if it stays as it is with the time penalty. And look who's there. I did say that just as we cut to JP mounting the sausage curb, and he's just lost DRS as a result. He's trying his hardest. He's doing everything he can to give us a grandstand finish, but it's going to be so tough now with 1 lap to go. He's going to have to throw everything at this race if he can. Kerr and Vasek side by side as they approach the braking zone, and Kerr goes through. A little bit of a slide out of the corner, but Kerr will also have DRS thanks to Ruddo still being less than a second in front. And Kerr is up to 6th. That's a great result if he can finish there. The two Haas's are still together on circuit. Still fighting hard. We're on board with Alex. To the right, we've got Atsu there on the inside of us. Just about giving each other racing room. Look how close this is through turn 3. And I think Alex is just about going to clear him. Yes, he is. Now at the front. That is a very wide car that just went off the road there. Not quite sure what happened. Look at this, though. This is it. The final lap of the race. Ivan goes past Claimer. It's a little bit deep from Lucas. The championship leader needs to focus. He needs to get his car lined up properly, but JP is right with him. And he's all over the rear spoiler of that Aston Martin. We've got 1 corner to go. A little bit of a wiggle from the Mercedes on the exit and the Aston Martin too. They're firing it now towards the penultimate corner, effectively, of the track. The last opportunity for JP. He's going to have to try and go for a big lunge at the final corner. Is he going to do it? No, he's not quite there. Lucas leaves the gap, but it should just be enough for Lucas Blaha to hold on for a victory here at Miami. JP takes 2nd. Good fight for Ivan, but it's going to drop him off the podium. Well done to Claimer. Ruddo will take 4th. Ivan will take 5th in the end. Vasek beat Kerr to the line to take 6th and 7th places. Ads Lucas will be 8th. The two Haas's together in 9th and 10th. But they dropped down to 11th and 12th. Look how close that was. Clips Kiri and LDR Game are separated by 6 thousandths of a second. Wow, what a race. Driver of the day going to Ruddo. It's hard for me to pick a driver of the day. It's normally Xerox who would do that, but today it's going to be me. We'll have a little think about it. But there is Lucas Blaha celebrating on the podium. He'll be chuffed to pieces with that. JP there in 2nd in the end. He just couldn't quite make that lunge at the final corner. And of course, Claimer, otherwise known as Jiri Clement, he got 3rd place last week, did Jiri? He's got 3rd place again. So let's run through these driver results then. The Czech Championship leader of Lucas Blaha, setting fastest lap of the race, getting a bonus point there, wins it just from JP9. Claimer rounds out the podium. Ruddo up from ninth place to fourth. Ivan in fifth with Vasek in sixth position. Kerr, in front of his home fans, finishes seventh. Vad, Lucas, Clips and LDR Gamer rounding out the top 10. Atsu and Alex, the fighting Haas duo, taking the last points. Keza retired on the last lap, but he will get a classification as a finish. Mr. Steen was the last runner to go across the line, and Kent calls the only safety car. So whilst we wait for everybody to come in, I know that we currently have JP in the lobby at present, well, in terms of the commentary area. We will wait to see if Lucas or Jiri decide to join in with us here. And LDR did provide a comment to say that he completely missed his breaking point in the fight with the rest of the group before. That's why he just went sailing off the track. Mr. Steen saying some tracks shouldn't be in this season. Mr. Steen clearly not a fan of Miami. JP also telling me that both Lucas and Jiri are PC. That's fair enough. I still will like to see some comments, of course, from the pair of them. But if they are, we may as well speak with you, JP. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Well, it was a big fight for yourself and Lucas at the end of the race, and I want to ask you about how your race went and that little fight potentially at the end. How was it for you?
Yeah, no, I actually struggled a lot more with my tires on the first stint. The mediums never really kind of hooked up for me, but yeah, no, Lucas he was unreal. He was so fast, especially in that first stint. So never really had a chance to keep up with him, and I think fighting with Ivan obviously didn't really help with that. Then the safety car, it worked out quite well for me. I think Ivan, maybe a few others behind, they stopped the lap before, so yeah, no, that worked well. Then I was able to, I think you were similar yesterday. I was umming and ahhing about whether to go into softs or hards, but I chose the softs. I wanted to go aggressive. I knew I didn't have the pace on Lucas if I went onto hards, and I did. I really wanted to win, but no, I didn't get the win, but I'm still happy. We had a good fight there at the end, just not enough ERS. Even if I had just a couple more percentage of ERS, maybe I would have been able to get him. But yeah, no, it was a good race for me anyway.
How did you manage to catch Lucas? Because at one point it was 2 seconds, and I was saying in the commentary, I think that's the fight over, because I know you had that little mistake that sort of just at turn one that dropped you away from him. How did you manage to? Did Lucas make a mistake, or was it just a case of hard work and perseverance that got you back onto him?
I think, yeah, no, that mistake. To be honest, at the time I was devastated with that mistake, and I thought I might have lost my head a bit. But I just kind of tried to regather myself and look after the tires. I was kind of looking after the tires throughout that stint because I was kind of thinking that maybe there'd be another lap under safety car. But there wasn't. But yeah, no, I just kind of held behind Lucas. I didn't want to fight him too much. Just needed to hold on to my tires. And then yeah, I think he might have made a couple of minor mistakes. I think maybe just struggling with the tires a bit, and I managed to get back in DRS. But yeah, I just didn't have enough pace to get by. But yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those events really where when the safety car came out, it just played a completely different ball game, like you were saying as well. It brought you right back into the mix when Ivan pitted, and then it came out, which is typically the way, really, with how it works in terms of the safety car. You're either on the right side or the wrong. But you're obviously now in a big fight for P3 in the Drivers' Championship. You know, you've outscored Ruddo today, who finished fourth. So I think you are, I want to say maybe 2 points in front of him, or 1 point. It's very, very tight between the two of you now. You've got Hungary, you have Mexico and Brazil left in the season. How are you feeling about your fight for P3, or do you think there's more to be had? Do you think there's any chance of P2, or dare I say it, P1?
Well, to be honest now, Lucas is, I think he might run away now. Even he's been super quick as well. The two of them have been really quick, but I think Lucas is definitely, I think he's got it maybe wrapped up. But yeah, P3 looks like it's on for sure. Just have to nail the next few races. I think Hungary is probably one of my best tracks, hopefully. So I really want to at least get on the podium, but a win there would be ideal. But yeah, I just need to keep going the way I'm going and get as many points as I can, I suppose.
Well, let's see how that fight works out for yourself and Rudder. I'm looking forward to watching that narrative next week. And if Hungary is a good track for you, let's hope it proves the same sort of result as it has done tonight.
Yeah, let's hope so.
But well done today. Congratulations on your podium, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the comms as well.
Thank you. Lucas has provided the comment. Unfortunately, Jury hasn't. So we'll just run from what Lucas has said. Lucas has put, well, first Grand Slam, so very happy with that. Very happy with the results because I was very mad at myself after Italy. Important points for the championship. It is big points for the championship with Ivan finishing in 5th place. I want to say that Lucas has gained potentially 7 points on his nearest championship rival. And if that is the case, it'll give Lucas an 18-point lead with 3 races to go. So he's effectively got a race victory gap in front of the drivers behind. But Hungary, Mexico and Brazil are all very different types of circuits. They certainly can change anything. It's certainly not over until the final race has concluded. But in terms of tonight, that is it for all of the action here in Tier 2. It's been a pleasure, as always, to commentate on it. Later on this week, in terms of tomorrow and on Thursday, we have the Tier 1 and Realistic Performance Leagues running. So do check those out here on Invictus Racing League, and also make sure you have a look at our Discord. And if you want to get involved in the fun, go and sign up through the website. But from me, Jack TM53, I've been your commentator for this evening, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one and see you